everybody, welcome to What the Flick. Alonso and Tim. It is season 1 of Outcast. We are at long last getting to this new Cinemax show. And so we're going to catch up on the first 3 episodes. But from this point on, it'll be a weekly thing, and we're excited to be on board. What are these shows?
The first 3 episodes are A Darkness Surrounds Him, I Remember When She Loved Me, and All Alone Now. Episodes 1, 2, and 3 of season 1 of Outcast.
So in a nutshell, we are introduced to Patrick Fugit's character, Kyle Barnes, who is returning to his hometown after being sort of shrouded in mystery and scandal, and people in town are not exactly dying to see him again. It turns out that he was abused by his mother, and that he in turn has been served jail time for possibly physically abusing his daughter. We come to find out that all of those things have to do with demonic possession, and that he is now sort of uniquely skilled or cursed or something to battle it, but we don't know why exactly. We find out in episode 3 that he is an outcast, but we don't quite know what that means either. So he has teamed up with the local Reverend Anderson, who has lost his own family in his pursuit of casting out demons. And it's funny, the first couple episodes, when episode 3 started, I thought, okay, is this going to be like an exorcism of the week thing, where they go around? But episode 3 starts putting a spin on the whole thing. This is where we have the cops and Lee Tergesen as his name flew out of my head. But anyway, who murders his partner's wife, and clearly is not your garden variety possessed individual, but at the same time knows a lot of things about Patrick Fugit, or at least claims to know these things. Sorry about Kyle. And then, Kyle trying to figure out if he should trust this guy and keep him alive to get the answers he needs, or if they need to just beat the crap out of him.
Right. So I got what you were saying with the, possession of the week, the exorcism of the week, because it seems like each one is like pulling from different source material. The first one with the small boy Joshua was very Exorcist.
Yes.
With the contortionist child and the floating up in the air.
And the saying the thing, the knowing the worst thing to say to people in a weird adult voice. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I have that fear too, that it's going to be like that. But I think they're weaving an interesting enough overall story arc that it'll keep me interested for, at the very least, those parts.
Sure.
If each exorcism contributes something to the larger story, then it's worth it to see a different one every week.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think this is about Kyle's journey. It's about him figuring out who he is, what's happened to him, and is there a way to get out of it, and can he use what's happened to him to maybe help other people?
I don't have a real good handle right now at what face value everyone takes demonic possession. Mm-hmm. The way Anderson talks about it, it's like a super common thing. There's one in every town in America.
Yeah, right.
And like he's dedicated his life to fighting these things. It's not proven yet whether he's terribly good at it. Yeah. It seems to be Kyle's the one with the
as
touch.
A solo act, he's not so great.
Right. But they have a lot of success with Joshua, even though that success is beating the shit out of a little kid.
I have to say, that first 5 minutes of that first episode, I think...
Oh my God, so good.
I made like screamy noises twice. Between killing the roach with his head and then eating it. I was like, oh my God, what's going on? So I was immediately on board for this
I don't even know how you direct kids that young. How to be so fucking creepy.
Something tells me there's probably a lot of kids who take to that like a duck to water. Just a hunch, I don't know.
Jesus.
But this kid's good for sure.
Yeah, I mean, talk about hooking you right away.
Yes.
That was an amazing cold open for that show.
Yeah. And so, we get to know other characters. There's Megan and Mark. Megan, I guess, was Kyle's sort of adoptive sister after his mother got taken away. And she seems to be kind of his one friend in town. And Mark is her husband, who is still suspicious of him, and he's a local cop. Under the sheriff Reggie Cathy from House of Cards, and obviously this third episode was giving us a lot more of their story as well. I guess, are we to assume that this guy who showed up in town was Megan's rapist?
I mean, with the limited information that they gave us, yes, I assume that he raped Megan.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
his
was
face flashing there while she was
having sex with her husband, exactly, yeah. And he, meanwhile, is like tracking down this camper, this trailer in the middle of the woods where he thinks some horrible stuff may have gone down. And
yeah, they were following the lead about raccoons nailed to trees.
Right, yes, I forgot about that.
Which is weird, although not necessarily directly related to the demonic possession that is surrounding Kyle right now.
Right, although not too much of a stretch to think that maybe it is.
It probably will. It probably will. Do we think the sheriff knows more than he's leading on? Because he, one, tried to keep him away from investigating that, and then when he came back with stuff, particularly the gold watch, he was
really
like, I'll
took
take it
over.
from here.
Yeah, you know, it's hard to say. He could just be bad at his job. It's too early. We don't know. And then obviously there's going to be a whole sort of plot about Kyle trying to reconnect with his daughter, even though I guess he is legally barred from doing so.
And we don't know why.
We don't know why.
We saw his wife be possessed.
Yeah, my understanding, and this is what I read from these episodes, and maybe I'm getting it wrong. My take was, wife was possessed, the wife beat the daughter, he took the fall for the wife. Maybe recognizing the pattern of his mother's behavior or something, but basically he went to jail not having done anything, and whether he actively took the fall or was just wrongly accused, he didn't do anything, the wife did, but he's the one who got punished for it. That's my read on it. I could be totally wrong.
Yeah, and I think it's a fine read, but that means he determined that all these other possessions around him were his fault somehow, and that he needed to remove himself from equation in the sense that he's going to go to jail and leave his daughter with the possessed wife that beat her.
The kid is now with the foster family, so I think
the kid's with the wife, right?
No. Remember when Megan gets to the party early and she's talking about how like she stopped asking for her mother all the time, and like I assume the mother's dead.
Oh, no, I think that was the mother. He stopped asking for the father all the time. I think that's his wife.
I thought that was the foster mother. Who knows? Maybe we're not paying close enough attention, or
we won't
more
figure
will be
it out
revealed
right now.
later.
We'll
All right,
move
fine.
on.
Anyway, so, you know, but there was a whole thing about getting the birthday present to her and that kind of thing, so that was cool. Yeah, so I mean, I think we're going to be sort of unlocking a lot of what's going on with Patrick Tugget's character, and is he indeed somebody who is bringing this stuff with him? Is he is he some kind of conduit? Is he a, what's the word for people when like you don't suffer from the disease, but he's a carrier, I guess. Yeah. He's a demon carrier, you know. Yeah, so, and it's also interesting because so often in exorcism lore, it's always the Catholic Church, because that is the most theatrical religion, you know.
Right, and they're the ones that sort of double down on exorcism and demons and saints and angels and all that stuff.
So it's interesting to see a Protestant exorcist, you know, not something we get a lot in these kind of stories.
And is that just so that he can have a romantic interest or have a family? Because celibacy is a hard thing to write around as far as a compelling story goes. You don't have a family or a past. You were always a priest, and for most priests.
Sure. Or maybe it's just, you know, like for small town in West Virginia, right? You know, the Catholic might be hard to sell. I don't know. I'm sure, you know, they're all over the place. That was a really powerful moment where he like goes back to that field in the middle of the night to try and find the photo of his kid that blew out the window, you know, so that obviously he's got his own
And we'll learn
stuff.
more about that too.
Definitely. So
that's all well and good, but there was a couple of real, like, I almost want to say tipping their hat elements to the show. One, we see the demonic possession. We see the upside down black dripping tar that comes out, like the lost smoke monster, like floating in the air, liquid kind of thing. Yeah. We see soul sucking coming from Joshua to Kyle. So we know.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah, we sort of know what the demons want. They want to make out with Kyle for whatever reason. That's really important to them. And we see Brent Spiner.
Oh yeah. What's going on with Brent Spiner?
Right. He seems to be everywhere. He's got all the information. He's at least partially black liquid, either infected or embodied.
He was connected with the mother's possession, obviously, because he shows up at her hospital bed.
It puts a really weird physicality on it. Because it's not this ethereal, demonic, black, invisible.
Right, like he has to change handkerchiefs when he's got goopy crap on his hand.
That needs to wash his hands and shit. Yeah. So like, how does that fit into the lore? We don't know yet. How seamlessly will it intertwine?
Is he another outcast, perhaps?
And he seems to be working in opposition to Kyle because he says we have him already, despite your fighting. You know?
Right.
At least that's what we're led to believe 3 episodes in.
Yeah, and again, it's sort of like, we're dealing with the Prince of Lies here. So, like, it's hard to take anybody at face value when they, like when Lee Tergesen is talking about, is trying to hint at what an outcast is and what Kyle has become or has in him or doesn't have in him or whatever, but we can't trust, so who knows.
So we're 1 for 3 with successful exorcisms now, right?
Yes. Oh, and let's not forget the dead neighbor now.
Oh, yes. And the obviously that straight razor is meant to imply that Brent Spiner was there. God. Because he was using...
Yes, I'm an idiot. I didn't even make that connection. Good call, Tim. Yes, okay. Because I was thinking, oh, well, he committed suicide because whatever juju was going on in Kyle got to him or whatever. But no, you're totally right. Killed by Brent Spiner.
So,
good one.
We'll find out next week, maybe, or in 6 weeks?
So I guess the notion is that anybody who gets... The idea is to make Kyle think that anybody who gets close to him is in danger when clearly an outside force is putting those people in danger to make Kyle think that.
Right. Kyle seemed to be taking a lot of things that cop said at face value.
Oh, well, sure, because he's desperate for answers.
You've always been alone, right? Your friends seem to leave you. Yeah, that's your curse. And I think it was, I think it's the show, because we're watching Preacher at the same time.
I know, it's hard to
sometimes sort of blending things together.
I know, I keep waiting for the coffee can to come out.
But it was like, it's demons want you to be more afraid of them than you should be. Right? There's a lot of manipulation there. Mm-hmm. Maybe this isn't quite as deep as Kyle imagines it is, as far as the conspiracy and like the mysterious nature about him.
Sure, or it might even be the kind of thing where he does indeed possess a certain power, and if they can just talk him out of using it, then they can continue to, pursue their own agenda.
The last thing we saw on episode 3 was young Kyle being like pulled up and choked by the black demonic smoke.
Right, yeah.
It didn't go inside him, it didn't possess him, it choked him and dropped him.
Yeah.
So we don't know what that meant, although it came right on the heels of Brent Spiner saying, we've got him anyway.
Right, but you're right, that sequence does suggest that he is unpossessable or something,
Oh, that's an interesting interpretation.
in that if it attacks him but doesn't go into him, then he can somehow repel it. I don't know. It's always good when a show has us asking this many questions this early. So, and that we actually give a shit about the answers.
Right?
So,
that's fun and refreshing.
Totally, yeah. So if you've read the comics, don't spoil it for us. And we're not going to read the comments anyway, but thank you for watching.
I might.
Okay, fine. Anyway, we will be back next week with more Outcast. Thanks for watching.